Hello, Peach. Hello, Peach. Oh, there we go. Hello, Kathleen. Just getting set up here. Go. Come here, Peach. Come on up. Hi, Bonna. Hey, Amy Lulu. How are you doing? Oh, I think the birds taught me patience. It wasn't something I had before. Right, Peach? Did you teach me all about patience? Or was it Bob screaming in the other room because he has to come out with the boys? Yeah, it's my life. It's what I like to do. I like taking care of these guys, and they need it. Right, Peach? You're vibrating again. It's mating season. It doesn't take much to get them started. Where are you going? If I pet you, you're going to vibrate. If I don't pet you, you're going to get down. Huh? Is that what you're telling me? Hmm. Oh, I'm sorry to hear you had a stroke. Sorry to hear that, Banamax. Aren't we, Peach? Cause you're going to be good. Quit looking at Lorelai. Laura, no reason to stare at Lorelai. Oh, thank you, Bonna. Banamax. I'm I'm stepping in dangerous territory today. I'm using Sugar's iPad, and yeah, I see the B2 there, girl. And Sugar is attached to that thing. So, well, you want down? All right, come on. I think I need to work on your beak a little bit there. You got a problem on that left-hand side, kid. Yeah, yeah. That 16 years. Yeah, I know the feeling. They're amazing creatures, but so misunderstood. Right, Peach? Right, Peach? On Jazz? On Jazzy Jazz Bird? We're having another one of those horrible San Diego beautiful days. Right, Jazz? Hmm? I'm only petting you on your head and you're putting a full display out. What's the deal? And we're right in the flight pattern here, so I guess that makes sense, right, Peaches? We should be in the flight pattern. Peach? Yeah, we've got the girls out right now. I bring the girls and the boys out separately at this time of the year because there's just too much territoriality and too much desire for mating behavior. So we have Cause with us and Jasmine and Peaches. And the exception to the rule is Salamander. He's a boy. And then we have Lucy, who's up there in her usual spot looking out. And Sugarbird. Lorelei. Hi, Lorelei. Hey, watch where you go hopping. You just hopped on Peaches. I know you weren't trying to, but let's see. Ah, switch camera around here. Come on. There's the Lorelei. The Lorelei. Emphasis on the Lorelei. Salamander. Jazz. But you want me to introduce you? I have to reverse the camera. Jasmine. She was a mutilator. And Peaches is rather destructive and has 6 fused vertebrae in her neck. And there's Cause, who's rather destructive. Aren't you, Cause? Aren't you? And Sugar's up there preening. Hello, can I say? Okay, put your tail so I can't read. Yeah, these guys should not be in captivity. It's just, I like what that one um, rescuer said on in the Parrot Confidential from Nature. When asked what size cage she should have for a particular bird, she responded, 40 miles by 40 miles. That's about right. And what are you looking at? What are you looking at? Lorelei. A peach? No, it couldn't be a peach. Yeah, and these guys really aren't domesticated. They're basically functionally autistic because they were raised in an incubator and then brought up by humans, so they don't actually know what they are. Um, a good example is he's not out here because he's a boy, but Cecil, he doesn't know how to fly. I mean, he will fly if he's scared, but hello, Eleanor. Um, he will fly if he's scared, but he doesn't realize he can. Um, well, we've got 12 birds here, so, and they're at varying stages of understanding what they are. So most of them don't have a clue that they're actually birds. Salamander, yeah, he's a handsome boy. He has managed to con Sugar into preening him. I wish he would not concentrate quite so much around his eyes, but be gentle, Sugar. Be gentle. Sugar's someone who did not know how to preen, so. And the screaming you hear in the background is Babaloo. He comes out with the boys, and he's not going to shut up. Probably he's got issues, a lot of issues, including he's heading towards a prolapse, but we've managed to head that off for 5 years. So actually 6 now. I'm focusing right now on what's going on over here because Sugar is not a bird who's preened anyone before this. So she's been doing just a little bit with Salamander for the last couple of days, but I like to keep my eyes on it. because she's been chasing him away. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You back off, Sugar. No, back off. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Come on. Come on. No, no, no. Good girl. Good girl. Salamander, she just doesn't understand. She just doesn't understand. All right. You're too rough. Be gentle. Be gentle. No, 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 no. We're not doing that. It's back. Salamander, come on. Get away from her. Come on. Come over here. Come on. You are, you don't really want to brain him, so I'm not sure why you're doing it, kid. Hmm? Hi, Cheryl. It was starting to look a little dangerous. She was starting to go for his beak, and that's not a good sign, so. Have to be careful with these guys. They can hurt each other really fast. So I've learned to tell the signals when she's getting a little too rough, even though she's only been starting this preening thing for the last few days. So, hi, Spirit Matter. Yeah, we have to be careful with them. I mean, I was gone for no more than a minute, just moving birds from the socialization room. Yeah, exactly. Toddlers with pliers. No more than a minute, and I come back, and Jasmine's been bitten. So that's when I knew it was time to separate them for the mating season. But you're talking 2 weeks. She was on antibiotics for 10 days just as a preventative. Even though the bite wasn't that deep, it could have gotten into her bones. And once it does that, then it's open to the entire body because they have air circulation through their bones. So that's not the way I wanted to start this mating season out, but we haven't had any further incidents. So, right, Sugar? Yeah, you could tell she's a little overjealous by the way she wants her beak petted right now. So she got a little wound up, didn't you? You got wound up, didn't you? You gonna whine for me? Hmm? Yeah, I hear you, sweetheart. You sound so desperate. And then the other issue we have right now is we have Lorelai in here with Cause, and Cause is being territorial about me. Actually, until this year, I didn't realize she had become bonded with me. I do everything I can not to, in most cases, get bonded to these guys, but sometimes they just do it on their own. Peaches, people are doing you favors, Peaches. Sal, oh, did I stop petting you? Yeah, you can't stop petting Sal. You don't want to go sit next to her. You don't. Sal. No, actually, there are some that aren't. Lorelai's not for sure. She's not bonded to me. Um, Cecil isn't bonded to me. Um, there's two. Romeo isn't bonded to me. But you're right, most of them are. Yeah, she's my daughter. Yep. Right, Lorelai? Yeah, I know. Cause is bugging you. I know. Cause is bugging the girl. Mm, Lorelai. Good, good grief. Yeah, you should put a little distance. There you go. A little bit of distance between you and Sugar is not a bad idea. Let's see. Yeah, that was Lorelei with her foot curled up. She was taking a nap. Yeah, you're talking about with that sound you hear in the background, which is what exactly what Babalu is doing. He's back in the back room screaming. You know, every couple of seconds he just puts out that big hawking 125 decibel sound. Yeah, there's a method to deal with that. Now, if you the key is to know something about animal training. You know, you take a class in animal training, but I'll give you the short and skinny on it without a little training in ABA from something like Animal Training 101 with Jennifer Soligs. You might find this hard to do, but generally the way you stop screaming is you do not want to just totally ignore it. That won't work. It'll make it worse. What you need to do is whenever the bird makes the sound you like, you need to rush over to the cage and reward them. Okay, you put out a bunch of different things as far as food, and you have the bird choose which food it likes. So it'll be the first thing it picks up. Then you take it out of your diet, out of their diet. Okay, so they never get it at any other time. And what you're going to do is have a little pouch on your side, and every time that bird makes a sound you like, okay, it speaks or it makes some cute little sound, you run over to it and give it a treat. And when it is making that screaming sound, you're going to do everything you can to ignore it. Now, just ignoring it won't work. We call that extinction when you try to get rid of a behavior, and it doesn't work by itself. Extinction, in almost every case, has to be accompanied by something else. It's a replacement behavior, okay? So, again, basically, what you're going to do is offer an alternative. You're going to reward the alternative behavior. Um, so what you're doing is you're ignoring one behavior and then reinforcing another. And eventually, because they like the attention, and the reason they're screaming is for that attention, they're going to go with what gives them the attention, and that'll be the good sounds. It may take a while, but it works. Now, the problem with Bob is that the other birds, he's a lot of other birds around him, and he gets all excited and then he starts screaming. So I can quiet him down when I've got him isolated, but it's hard to do it in a group of birds. So, yeah, we are just a sanctuary. We don't take in birds. The only way another bird comes in here is if one goes bye-bye. You know, someone, which unfortunately has happened to us, you know, a bird dies. So, um, you know, they don't live forever. So, yeah, the vids will help you, Meaty Dark. Basically, what I'm talking about, if you hear it, if you go into our videos and you see something that says differential reinforcement of another behavior, that's what I'm talking about. So, and the two factors are the replacement behavior that you reinforce by running over, okay, and the other one is the extinction, the behavior you're going to ignore. And one good example of that is if somebody was walking down the street that you knew, and you said, "Hey Joe," and there was no response. Okay, so then you know they're still walking down the street, and then you yell, "Hey Joe," and there's no response. Eventually, you're going to be screaming, "Hey, Joe!" And finally, he turns around. When you see Joe the next time in a similar situation, do you think you're going to start out as quiet as you did the first time? Nope. So that's why extinction doesn't work by itself. You have to have a replacement behavior with it, right, Jasmine? Jazzbird. Yeah. When they're put in a place in a dark area, that's going to drive them. It's going to do what it'll do to us. It'll drive them psychotic. So they're already screwed up from being raised by breeders. And you will quite often, at least I've heard breeders say, well, we're protecting them. So if they die out in the wild, no, you're not protecting anything, because when they're in captivity, they are raised away from their group, and they have a 2-year juvenile dependency period where they learn from their parents, from the flock, their siblings, to be what they are, birds. And they have not that much innate behavior. I mean, it's natural for them to fly, but if they aren't taught to fly, they don't do it. I mean, you really have to work to teach them to fly, because they won't do it. It's like with Cecil. He will definitely fly when I go to do his nails. And then I go get him from the kitchen sink and bring him back, then he's fine. But he doesn't realize what he's doing because he was never taught to do it. So how do you tell the difference? They are, that's a good question, Meaty Dark. Um, they just look different to me. They're as different to me as night and day, really. I can tell them apart. Their beaks aren't the same. Their facial expressions aren't the same. Their eyes, especially, are different. Um, it it's to me, the difference between them is like a blue light in Kmart. You know, it's just, you can just, it stands out. Their feathers aren't the same. And I would say it's just the face that I see, but it's not true, because I can usually tell who they are from just from behind too, just from their feathers, the way their feathers look. So yeah, most people don't understand them, and I mean, I'm not saying I understand them 100%. Nobody does. Nobody does. And you just, you study and you learn, you work with them, but without the study, you're going to get things wrong, because the human mind tends to just, what the human mind tends to do is to create its own world, its own universe. Okay, so um, so you will say, oh, this bird is angry, or oh, this bird is upset. Well, doesn't like me. Or an example, this bird hates men. Well, I had an Amazon here for a couple of months, and just to train him out of that behavior, and they told me flatly that men could not hold him. And if you look at some of our videos when Marley was here, he was roaming around inside this aviary, and if he was going to attack a man, he had every opportunity to do it. And I just used two basic techniques in ABA, and with him to break him of that. It didn't even take that long. It just took about a week to break him of that attack mode. Um, and the two things I used was come bearing gifts, which is walk by the cage and occasionally give him something his favorite thing. Okay, so he liked almonds. I would give him a little bit of an almond, and and the other one was calm attention. I'd sit in what we call protected contact, looking through the cage bars where he couldn't attack me, and get him to look at me for just 1 second. Then I'd say good, which is my basic bridge sound. Okay, I have two of them, and they're basically the same word said at different volumes. Okay, so one is good, and the other one is good. Okay, big difference between the two, same sound. So I would look at him for a minute, and then or a minute. I'd look at him for just a second, and then give him a reward and say good. Then I brought within a week, I had him up to 10 seconds of just, he'd sit there and just look at me. Now, if he looked away for a second, I'd start it all over and start the countdown. And I use my watch because they're better at time than we are. They can tell the difference between 12 seconds and 10. So I use my watch, set my timer, be looking down there to make sure I make it exactly right. And just after a week of just those two things, he got up on my hand. So every bird's different. You may have to use different techniques. There's a lot of different techniques in applied behavior analysis, but those two is all it took with Marley. And of course, I understand the psychology. I could see what his body language was. And a lot of people, you can't tell these birds apart, right? They look the same. But when you get to know them, you get to know, and you've studied, because you can't figure this out all on your own. But you'll see certain feather positions mean something, like when the feathers just on the back of the neck come up, nowhere else, just the back of the neck come up. Well, that's either a fear or aggressive response. So they're being territorial or they're afraid of something. So if that's not the time that you want to ask them to step up, okay? You want to ask them to step up when they're sitting there calmly. They're not trying to turn away from you. You're watching their body language the whole time. So, but there are approaches to every kind of issue. And as in the Bisava manual, the British Small Animal Veterinary Association's uh, book on citizen birds, it lists all these problems with these cockatoos. There's just a huge list of problems, and then it says, and these problems are all due to the way they're taken care of. So it's all due to the people who have them, because in the wild these are not issues that they have, and they have these issues because they were raised in captivity by people who raised them in an incubator, didn't know their parents. It's really sad. So. Looking over to see what messages there are. And so far, Sugar hasn't attacked me for, well, she wouldn't attack me, but she hasn't given me any trouble. Because it's her iPad, not mine. Oh, thank you, Meaty Dark. I appreciate the super chat there. Appreciate the donation. We can use it, can't we, kid? Yeah, it's been tough with the boy. That's Cecil. And he's trying to talk to Lorelei, and unfortunately, those two we can't let them together. Lorelei has, let's see, what you got a question here. No, they don't. That's a good question. You're asking if when they stand on my shoulder, if they poop on my shoulder. No. Um, they're much smarter than dogs or cats or anything like that. They're roughly the intelligence of a monkey or a chimpanzee, even. So they don't poop. Like my dad used to say, you don't poop where you eat, or in this case, you don't poop on your friends. No, they don't do that. There have been a few times when I've been pooped on, but when I get pooped on, it's usually because they're up on one of these ropes, okay, and they don't really. I don't think they think about where it's going to go from up there. But when they're on my shoulder, they won't do it. If they really had to go and couldn't get off my shoulder, I've seen that situation before, and it's kind of funny because you see them. They're bending as far back as they can, trying to arch their body so that they won't poop on you. Yeah, that's right, Eleanor. Yeah, Salamander does have problems with that because he has a twisted pelvis. If we could afford some of the bells and whistles to make it so that I could bring up some of the stuff during the live chat, which, if we get more support, we can do that. Then I can show you things like the X-rays where you can see how twisted his pelvis is. And yeah, he doesn't have the control that most do. Uh, Most of the birds here prefer the ropes. They do get up on the branches sometimes, but they prefer the ropes. And the branches are more or less there to make it look like this is actually a jungle. But they chew on the corn cob leaves that are on there. I used to dye them. I'm going to stop dyeing them because they don't hold up as well when you dye them, and they get a lot stiffer. These are not anywhere nearly as stiff as the ones that I dyed. So let's see what else we got over there. Can I say, yeah, when you talk about the smaller parrots, Even if they didn't want to poop on you, it would be relatively tough because they can't maneuver to avoid it. Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you very much. Oh, she's on a mission. All right. What are you doing up there? Lorelai, you prancing? Yeah, the smaller ones seem to do that more often, and I think part of that is just that there's no way that they can angle their bodies away so that they can't poop on you. Not sure though. I can't honestly answer why that's the case. But if you're talking conures or anything of that size, um, you're more likely to get pooped on. And when Cecil and Lorelai used to be out in here at the same time, hey you, Lorelai, that's my shoe. Try not to eat it, okay? Um, if I tried to separate them, then he would literally come over and get on a rope and poop on me intentionally. So, um, hey, no, leave her alone. No fighting. No, cause, cause, Cosmo. Cosmo's a girl, but they named her Cosmo, so that's the name she likes. Although she will go by Cosy. Usually, when I say Cosmo like that, I'm telling her not to do something. Cosmo, you be nice now. Yeah, they like their beaks petted, but keep in mind that can get them mated to you. So I already have her mated to me, so it doesn't hurt for me to pet her beak. Yeah, I call her the cosmopolitan or She used to be the cosmonaut that couldn't fly very well, but that was because she used to chew her tail feathers. She doesn't do that anymore, so she flies just fine now. Yeah, you got to be careful with the beak petting. If you and the issue with getting a bird mated to you, it doesn't sound like much, but it is because they expect certain behaviors from their mates. Some of these are instinctive. So um, if you see me, when I'm petting when I'm petting Jasmine, I'm having Sugar hang over me and want to be petted on the beak. Yeah, that's mate territoriality. She doesn't want any other Saram cockatoo, or as they call them in other places, Moluccans. She doesn't want any other female doing anything like that to me, sitting on me. But the other side of it is that Sugar won't sit on me. She does not like to sit on anyone. She'll only do that if she's really upset, she has a night fright, or if she's not feeling well. Otherwise, she just wants to be petted like this. So, yeah, that variety is important too. And another thing too is that we have gotten into a habit in this country. Oh, thank you, Kaisei. Oh, much appreciated. Thank you very much for the super chat. Um, we've gotten into this habit of you go to the vet or to somebody and they trim. I don't believe in trimming wings, and I can, if you're interested, I can send you a great thing that some college students put together why you shouldn't do that. But anyway, um, when you go to the vet or to a place where they're going to trim the nails. Now, I would prefer going to a vet because you got a cleaner environment, less chance of getting a disease. But they trim them down quite a bit, so you don't have to come back so frequently, right? Because if they trim them just a little bit, you're going to be upset. I got to go back. They're already too long, right? So if you notice the birds here, if you look at their nails, I don't know if I can get Salamander to put his nail down here. I can probably turn the camera up so you can see him. Okay. You see how those nails are about a 90-degree angle? If you go to the vet, they're going to cut that 90-degree down to maybe 75 or 80. They're going to cut quite a bit of it off. The thing is, those are just about right. When you see it go against the perch, that's just about what you want. to hold on to the perch. I know he's looking at me like, what are you doing? But that's just about the right length. So what I do is that I do a bird a day. So with 12 birds, they get their nails done twice a month. So that way their nails stay at about a 90-degree angle. That's not something your vet would do. The vet's not going to do that. And the reason the vet won't do it is, like I say, they don't want you to have to come back 2 weeks later because most people are going to get upset. And I generally use a Dremel. I think it's the best way to do their nails because when I use a Dremel, they don't bleed. Because when I get to the point where the nerves are, you can also see there's a little white section in there. When you start to see a little bit of white coming out, if you stop there and just round out the outside of it with a Dremel, then they're not going to bleed. But if you cut them, if you use snips, well, you can't really tell just exactly where to do it. So you get a lot of bleeding. So, yeah, well, they're always a little calmer when the males aren't out with them. But especially Cecil, because he'd be chasing them all around. But right now, he's a little over the edge. Oh, thank you, Lane. Thank you so much for the super chat, Lane Mac. Much appreciated. So, like I say, I've actually had. I remember a year or two ago, I had somebody saying, why don't you ever do their nails?" And yeah, I don't do them that short because I don't have to. I'm not worried about doing them every 2 weeks because that's how it works. Yeah, and as far as using a Dremel, the point is you better know what you're doing because for one thing, you get these things moving fairly high speed, and if a feather gets caught in there, you don't have the bit is too close to the actual shank where it hooks in, then you can catch their feathers and rip them out. Not a good thing. And the other side of it is um, you have to be fairly certain that you have to be, what's the word for it? My dad used to say there's a fine line between bravery and stupidity. But when I'm doing dremeling, I've got my face right down about like this. See if I can show you. I got my face down there about like this when I'm running the Dremel. Okay. So, and my fingers are close. So if, and what I'm trying to do is guard their feet. Now, another thing about their feet is they can only do this. They can't do this. They have muscles to pull it in like that. They do not have muscles to do this. There's not an individual muscle. So they're going to do this. So when you're working on a particular toe, to Dremel with it, I'll often have my fingers splayed in such a way to pull the toes apart. Knowing the physiology makes that easy, right? Uh, but yeah, you need to know what you're doing. And you want to know where I learned to do dremeling? Doing jewelry. I used to do jewelry it was my side stuff. I really loved doing jewelry way back when. And then someone stole all my equipment, so that was that. But that's where I learned to use a Dremel, and that's where I learned to cut stone. And when you're working with this, it is much like cutting moss agate. That's about the level that you're working with. So practice on cutting something like moss agate with a Dremel. Trying to think what else you could use if you're going to practice it. You can use it on like a walnut shell or a Brazil nut shell. That's a good place to practice as well. But if you're going to use a Dremel, you're going to have your face in it. You don't want to be doing the Dremel way down here because you want to be right up where you can see what's going on and be able to pull that away. And you need a foot switch. So in other words, if something goes wrong, you want to be able to lift your foot up and turn that Dremel off. So I have it hooked up through a foot switch. So I do a nail and I stop the Dremel. I go to the next nail. And when I do it, in most cases, some of the birds don't require this anymore. But what I'll do is I'll say hold, hold, hold while I'm doing a nail. Then I say good, I'm done. Just gently say good. That means you're going to get a reward for this, which 9 times out of 10, the reward that most of these birds want is just being held and petted. Bob wants peanut butter, but oh, you're listening to that? Yeah. Now there's something else. they learn a certain sound that works to get your attention and get what they want. And she's got the best one. Everybody thinks she's just miserable. No, she's making that sound to get what she wants. And if she could if she could get what she wanted by making the sound of something like I'm trying to think what the word is for that. Uh, one of those days, isn't it, Lorelei? If she could get the same attention by making the sound of like an emergency vehicle siren or something like that, that's what she'd do. People who have parrots around and they bring a baby in the house, so they got a new baby, and the worst thing you can do with a new baby is where that bird can see it, and as soon as that baby goes, wah, you run over to it. If a bird sees you run over to something, and it's like with an African gray, most of them make the sound of the microwave. Because what do people do when the microwave goes beep, beep, beep? They walk right over to it. You want to ignore things like that for a minute or so, so the bird doesn't associate it. Because if they do, they're going to use it against you. And this one's got that whine. But again, you have these people who they have a baby in the house, and then every time the baby cries, they run over to it. And then you have a bird that goes, wah, wah. And honestly, I think you wear out on that sound pretty quickly. So you keep hoping, when is this kid going to get older and start talking? You don't want the bird continuing the crying for the rest of your life, right? You can get rid of it. Like I said with the screaming, you can not reward that sound and reward another sound you do like. Extinction paired with an alternative will get rid of it, or at least mostly get rid of it. Keeping in mind that there's always a resurgence of behavior at some point. So they'll do it again, and you have to make sure that you treat it the same way, and it'll eventually fade out. What? Oh, you're going to get, it's going to get all the way close to me now? Huh? Put your head on my shoulder? You're demanding the petting that much now, kid? Just reading what's on the mess. Yeah. This one's pretty happy, but if she doesn't get her medicine twice a day, she'd be dead probably in a day. I mean, she somehow, and I'm not quite sure, it's a lot of work. So at some point, I will film that and put it up on Cockatoo. Just what it takes to give her medicine. So in the morning, I go into her cage. She wants to be spoken to first. And if you don't, she gets an attitude. By attitude, I mean she doesn't want to take the medicine. So she'll fight you. So, yeah, it's not a good thing, but what are you going to do? So I go in and I say, hi, Sugar. Good morning, Sugar. I also talk to her a little bit in German. Guten Morgen. Yeah. Alles in Ordnung, my baby? And then I talk to her. And then I put peanut butter on 2 craft sticks. I take a fairly large amount of peanut butter. The reason being, she gets a rather large dose of this. She gets 0.21 milliliters, which is quite a bit. So then I get in the cage and I move her hanging toys out of the way, and I talk to her until she tilts her head back. 9 times out of 10, she'll do that. Then I have to try to get that syringe about halfway down the throat and squirt it in there while trying to keep her from shaking her head to try to get the medicine out. Has to go over the tongue, right? Then I give her the peanut butter and put it up high. Her beak's here, and I'm putting it up high. So she has to tilt back again, trying to get the medicine to go down. And I give her the peanut butter until she takes the stick. She eats about half of it. Then she takes the stick. And then I grab another stick of peanut butter, and I hold it there until she drops the first one and give her another little stick of peanut butter. The thing with that is the peanut butter helps the medicine go down. So, yeah, that's just every morning and every afternoon. Right, Sugar? Each of them, this one's easy. I just take her beak. Usually, with most of them, you can just grab the Come here. Let me use you as an example. You can just grab the upper beak like that, and then take the syringe and put it above the tongue with the other hand. That works just fine. But right, Cause, my baby. You don't mind being an example, do you, Cause? Um, but they're all a little different in how they take it. With Lorelei, she wants to. Yeah, I said your name, Lorelei. Yes, I did. She wants to. She wants to be held before she'll gets her medicine. So I take and hold her and talk. Talk. It's the tone of your voice more than anything else. But she likes to be called baby girl. So I'll say, "Hi, baby girl. Hi, baby girl." Yeah. So and then I hold her and she like nibbles at me a little bit. And then I put her back in the cage and she puts her head back and I give her the medicine. Then I kind of hold her head back to make sure she doesn't spit it out. Then I give her peanut butter. They don't all get peanut butter. Some don't need it. Jasmine doesn't get. She doesn't get any peanut butter. Neither does Lucy. Neither does Peach. This one, she's a pain too when it comes to giving her medicine. She'll do everything in her power to make it so she won't swallow it. So sometimes I have to get a second dose and give it to her because she'll just spit the whole thing out. Won't you? What are you vibrating for, little girl? You'd think it was mating season or something. Um, I've heard of them, but what I understand, she takes in mostly birds that were wild caught. That's what I heard, but that's just scuttlebutt because I don't know for sure. We need more people to take these guys in that know what they're doing. That's for sure. Don't we, Cause? Well, at least we know more than everybody else. That one book, the Manual of Parrot Behavior, is essential to actually understand these guys. I don't know how you can understand them without that, and I don't know how you can train them without taking ABA. That Animal Training 101 online is just a lifesaver. I took Dr. Friedman's course, Learning and Living with Animals as well, which is only about parrots. But get the other birds in here. Peach has. Yes, Peach has. Now, Peaches, I got to be careful. I can't pet her too much because I don't want her producing eggs. It's not good for her. It's not good for any of them to be producing eggs, really. But in her case, with her body in the state it's in, I don't want her producing eggs. So I will ignore her a little bit more than I want to. She is bonded to me, so the only thing I have to be careful is not getting her to produce more eggs. She had one that was not formed at all. I mean, the calcium came out like in a lump at the end, and then the next egg was normal this year. But we don't want any more, do we, Peach? Hmm? Yeah, can I say that? It doesn't bother me that they're loud, but I use the AirPods Pro, which cuts a lot of the sound out, and it'll even if I have them where like right now it's open to the sound around me. If they start getting loud, it will shut down about 30 decibels of that. So, but earplugs work. I wouldn't invest too much money in headsets. The problem with headsets is some of the birds don't like them. If you put a headset on and you go up to a salamander, he's going to try to eat your head. Doesn't like headsets. He's not too fond of hats and things like that either. A beer will set him off. Yeah, I don't drink alcoholic beverages, but I came in with an O'Doul's one time, and that was nope, can't do that. He would have nothing to do with a O'Doul's bottle in his environment. Yeah, Babalu, his screaming problem probably, I don't know for sure, but I think that problem came when the last place he was at rehomed him in a daycare center. So all those screaming kids, he had to scream louder than the kids. Well, they're loud. They're just naturally loud, but they have their syrinx that produces a louder sound than we can produce with a voice box. I'm sorry, Peach. I have to preen feathers, and it's become a habit because she gets impacted feathers and she can't preen herself. You normally do not want to do anything below the neckline with a parrot, but in her case, I have to take out these feathers that aren't growing in right. Don't I, Peach? Yeah. That all you can say, Peach? Yeah, if you can get the neighbors on board. I know one sanctuary that's no longer around. Unfortunately, it's gone, but they were telling me that they moved into an area where it was a Vietnamese area, and the reason they wanted to be around, this is in the San Diego area, but an area where a lot of Vietnamese are, they consider these birds gods. I don't know if it's true, but they said they never had a complaint, and they got loud. They had a lot of them too. At one point, they had 50 birds there, but they were doing the rehoming thing too, which is really tough. You need a pretty big crew because you got to go home, check the home, and make sure there's no Teflon, make sure they don't have any ceiling fans, and I mean, there's a whole bunch of things you can't have. You have to be up to speed on things like you can't use carpet fresh on your carpet because it'll kill the birds. You can't use the self cleaning feature. Uh, and an oven because it produces a noxious gas. A lot of these new ovens actually have that in there. Do not use the self cleaning feature in a home that has birds. So their lungs just aren't built like ours. They're more efficient, but they don't block the poisons like ours do. So do I need to pet you some more? I don't want to overdo it. No, I can't. I can't overdo it. No. Yeah, birds are different. That's for sure, aren't you? Mhm. Voices as loud as a jet airplane taking off, and beaks that can crush a Brazil nut. You're naturally gentle, aren't you? Are you gentle? Hmm. Are you? Oh, thank you. I see we have a new member. Can't see the name on here, but thank you for becoming a member. We appreciate it extremely much right now. The pandemic has really hurt the financing, and some of the tax change, some of the laws that got changed in the last administration mean that we don't get the bigger donations. Plus, we don't rehome them. So they seem to think that these guys should be rehomed. Um, and I was talking to the head of the Humane Society down in San Diego, and I said, well, if you think they should be rehomed, should we rehome raccoons and other wild animals? How about, you know, wild cats like mountain lions? Should we rehome those? Yeah, it's not that common. Um, Anyway, you look at it, Kai. It's just with my friends who had that rescue up in Los Angeles area. They wanted to move into an area where they weren't going to get complaints, and they did actually have one complaint, but that guy was not Asian, and he moved out. So I have no idea what I am. I mean, I thought I knew before I had the DNA test, but I never would have guessed I was 2% Han Chinese and 8% Peruvian. But what? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, I just have to pet the beak. I just have to pet the beak. Is that what you're telling me? Yeah. Well, why is that? Why should I pet the beak? Why should I pet the beak? Hmm? Why? Why? Hmm? Is that what you want? Hmm? Is that what you want? Peaches. Ah, Peaches, you're doing the old Beach Boy song. Hmm? Vibrations there, kid? You need to calm down. Calm down, Peach. You. Now, let's see. The rest of them are just kind of kicking back right now. There we go. Salamander. Lorelei, half asleep over there. Lucy. Lucy laid an egg, and that apparently gave her a little trauma. I had to raise up her dosage of her medicine because she started plucking again. She stopped now, but didn't you, girl? Lucy, pretty bird. It's too early. Yeah, it's a peachy song. Peachy song. Peaches, beautiful song. You got another verse in there, Peach? Got another verse, Peaches? You gonna sing another song, Peach? No, you don't. You don't think so? That's it for Peaches. What are you doing, Cause? Hey, Cause. Oh, are you gonna whine at me again? Huh? There you are. What are you doing up there, Jazzbird? Jasmine. Jazzy, Jazzbird. Oh, thank you, Amy. Thank you so much. What do you want? Well, what do you want? Oh, I can't get you in the picture and these other two at the same time. I can't. What do you want? Nice tail flash there, Jazzbird. Did I say Jazz? I did. Hmm. I did, didn't I? He says you're gonna sing some more. Man, you got some feathers there that need a little preening on your face. Just a minute there, I know, sugar. I know. And I give you enough attention. The Peaches has a whole bunch of little feathers on her face. That's better, Peach. You don't look like a porcupine now. What did you say, Peach? You're going, cause. Yeah, there's a ton to learn about these guys, isn't there? Isn't there? Ich auch, Kaisti. Ich lerne Deutsch auch. What are you doing? Well, what do you want? Oh, another verse. Beautiful song, Peaches. Beautiful song. Beautiful song, Peaches. You got another verse? Hi, Peach. That's not a verse. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Careful, cause. Yeah, it's sad. You know, when they're raised in incubators, they just don't, and they don't get to meet their parents. They just don't do well. You know, they end up with functional autism, so they're not quite sure what to do. So learning to train them is good because when, just like us, if we don't know anything, we will suffer a lot more. And they like to learn, don't you, Peach? I'll go into the vet with one of these and one of our birds here, and you had to go, huh, kid? Yeah, I figured you did the way you were acting. And they know all the veterinary behaviors, so I can flip them upside down, and they don't get all freaked out with the vet. They're used to all that stuff. So that's a good place to start. You know, getting them to step up, get the bird to step up, right, Peach? First thing, actually, you want to teach them is targeting. Teach them to follow you. So when you want them to go here or there, to follow that, and also to target things like, here's an example of targeting. If I put my finger under her wing like that, she'll put her wing out on both sides. And I'm not pushing the wing out, I'm just touching there, and then she moves it out. So when they're at the vet, they can get examined, and it's not a big hassle, and it doesn't bother them. You know? Peaches still likes to go to the vet. She doesn't see any negativity to it at all. So what do you think, Peach? Well, stinks to Peach. What are you thinking? Uh-oh. Dust cloud. Dust cloud. That sound was Jasmine rousing. And when you get one of these cerams rousing and they shake their feathers all out, it's a huge cloud of dust. That's something other people don't realize when they get one of these guys too. Yeah. Hi. Um, they're they're dusty. Okay, cockatoos are dusty. They have a uropageal gland, which it produces a small amount of oil. Or if you have something like an Amazon, they smell like they're coated in patchouli oil because they are pretty much coated in oil. And but these guys aren't. They do a little bit of that. Mostly what they have is just dust. And that dust is so powerful that I'll sit out here in a summer night and I won't see a mosquito. Once I put them back inside, that's when the mosquitoes come in. They don't like breathing that dust. Right, Peach? Well, you gonna sing? You sing? Come on, Peach. Another song. Peachy song. Come on, Peach. Oh, hello. You wanna do a peachy song? Peachy song? Peachy song. Peaches? Peachy song? No? No more music? Hmm? Here we go. Peachy song. Peachy song. You almost did it. You want to sit down again? Okay. All right. Yeah, she actually gave me signals that she wanted to be on my lap. So, yeah, I'm trying to get her to sing. You sing a peachy song? Peachy song. Peaches. Peachy song. Okay. Guess not. Yeah, and when you bring one of these guys into your home, if you don't know what you're doing, even if you do, you're going to face a whole bunch of backlash from wherever they've been and what other problems they've suffered. So, well, thank you, Ethia. Much appreciated. The super chat there. Much appreciated. We need it, don't we, baby? Don't we? And there is a join button. If anybody hasn't joined up, wants to be a member, we have different levels that you can check out. All the way up to being able to help us with episodes or, provide videos so I can create an episode for you. That's one of our levels too. Isn't it, Peach? I love you too. I love you, Peach. It's a good girl. Yeah, she'll do it when she's good and ready. That's right. Peaches will sing when she's ready to sing. You don't want to sing? Peachy girl. Peaches. Peach. Peach. Hi, Cause. Aw. What's up, Cause? Hmm? Come here, little girl. Hello, little girl. Oops. Upside down cockatoo. Upside down cockatoo. Upside down cockatoo. Cockatoo? Hi, cockatoo. Hi, cockatoo. That's what Cause says. She says, hi, cockatoo. Hi, cockatoo. Hi, cockatoo. Hi, cockatoo. Hi, cockatoo. Hi, cockatoo. Here's another one. I'll say it when she's ready. I don't have them trained to do these kind of things on cue. I don't really see the point in that. So, I mean, there's some things that, with when it comes to targeting, yeah, that's important that they do it on cue. So, as far as spreading the wings for examination, all that has to be on cue. But also the upside down thing, that seems kind of silly, but it isn't. When your vet has to do a cloacal examination, they need you to be able to say here and hand the bird over, right? Instead of put it down on the table, throw a towel on them, flip them over, scare the heck out of them. I just hand them over upside down. Other things you have to train them to do are open their beaks for examination. So you have to be comfortable with opening their beaks. Otherwise, again, they have to force the beak open, and you don't want to do that. They have to be okay with being poked and prodded all over. So you're going to bury that head in me or what? Hmm? What are you doing, Peach? You thinking about getting down, Peach? Is that what you're thinking? Was I talking to cause too much? Huh? What? What do you want? Hmm? Oh, you're gonna play hard to get now, huh? Oh, you don't want me holding cause. Mm-hmm. Jealous girl. So I'll play with your ear. If you play with their ear, their beaks open up. So, right? Yawn. Yes. Yawn. Silly girl. Where are you going, Peach? Uh-oh. You want down? Well, okay, I'll put you down if you want. I don't really want you trying to climb down on your own. Come here. Oh, no, no, no. You have to get on my hand. If you want to get down, you can, but I have to. There you go. You want on your ramp? Okay. Well, hello. Silly girl. Oh, you're so silly. Now, this one, Sugar, she only says one thing, and that is, hi. Oh, Peachy song. Peachy song. You got another verse, Peach? Here, let me get you down past your ramp. Come here. Step up. You want to get down here? Your ramp's got poop on it, so I'd rather you didn't walk in the poop. There you go. I hear you. She says, hi. As far as I know, since I've had her, nobody else has heard her say that except me. She does. I can't get her to say it in a crowd at all. Yeah, they're not like dogs or cats. You have to give them a lot of attention, and they can't do it inside of a cage. They got to get out. Right? 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 Sugar bird. Cute girl. She certainly looks a lot different today than when I first got her. And that was an experience. I was at a beautiful song, Peach has. I took two birds down to have them get their yearly exam and came back with three. This one. She was going to go to a place which at the time, it's changed since then, but at the time they didn't display any birds with feather destructive behavior. They just kept them in a warehouse where they got almost no attention, so she wouldn't have made it. So I was asked if I would take her. Yeah, and I did. I took this girl. She's a good girl, isn't she? She's a sugar bird. A sugar bird. What are you doing, Peach? Going around in circles. What are you doing? Was tust du da? Hmm? Jasmine, what are you up to? You went down? Okay. Well, you got to step on my hand if you went down. Uh, hold on, Laura. Hold on, Lucy. There we go. Come on. Come on. That's a jazz bird. And the cause. Be nice, cause. This one, Jasmine, can talk. She can talk. She doesn't talk like a sailor, but she has an extensive vocabulary, and I didn't know it when I got her. She didn't speak for about a month and a half or so, and then somebody walked up to the fence, and the next thing you know, she's, "Hi, how are you?" What? Where'd that come from? She hasn't gotten anybody to preen the top of her head here. She's got a couple of feathers. Pretty bird. Oh, pretty bird. Can you say pretty bird? Pretty bird? Pretty bird? Pretty bird? Yeah. Now she's looking at me like, you know what that means. Why aren't you putting your hand out? Cause you be nice. Be nice to Lucy. Yeah, Babalu is, the boys come out separately right now, with the exception of Salamander. I have the girls come out in mating season, and then the boys come out after. So Bob's in the house making his. Well, he's quiet now, but he was screaming for quite a while. But he'll be out, and then one girl comes out with the boys. That's Pippa, because she will try to fight with these other birds. Lorelei will go after Pippa. Pippa will go after Cause. Yeah, so we don't do that. But within a few months, we'll have them all in the same aviary again. As far as vacuuming, what I get if I vacuum while the birds are in, I try to vacuum with the birds in the night room and then bring them in, because if I vacuum while they're in the main bird room, they will take a bath. Almost all of them will take a bath, and I have to go back and put the water in again. Yeah. Oh, sugar, don't have a fit. She's just sitting on my lap. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, he was having a lot of Babaloo was having a lot of problems over the last couple of weeks, but he seems to be getting better now. The mating season has been driving him nuts. He had took a wiffle ball and he was trying to use that. It was a big ball. He's trying to use that as an egg to sit on. Oh. Well, all males is good to a certain extent, but that doesn't mean that they won't have mating urges. So they will get a little argumentative with each other at that time. But having all of one sex or the other gets rid of the problem of excessive egg laying usually, um, and also territorial aggression is somewhat reduced. Lucy, she's still recovering from having an egg, aren't you, girl? Hmm? You haven't quite recovered, have you? Hmm? Lucy? What? Oh, it's okay if I pet the umbrellas. I'm just not allowed to pet another saran, right? Yeah, it's got to be something like rain, because they do immediately take a bath. It's kind of nuts to run a vacuum and you just see water splashing all over the place. But it's a common occurrence. Well, I guess we better pack it up because I got to get ready to go in and switch the birds around and give medicine. So thank you all so much for coming. Really appreciate it. And thank you for those of you who donated too. It's much needed right now. Yep, much needed, isn't it? Yeah. So thanks again for showing up and consider hitting that join button if you haven't already. And thanks. Thanks, Amy Lou, for your help. And Eleanor, thanks for being here, Kirsty. You all have a good day, huh? And we will see you later. Yeah, sleep is a good thing.